Welcome to the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce 30th Distinguished Citizen of the Year Banquet.
Good evening and welcome. It's really a pleasure to be here. I would like to go over a couple things with you. You've probably noticed there have been some changes this year. First of all, you probably noticed this isn't the Palo Alto Golf and Country Club. We thought we'd kind of ease into a hotel setting, and that way, if we liked it, we'd keep it. We'd go to that other hotel that they're building in Cupertino. But if we didn't like it, there'd be plenty of time for the Valcos to call off the deal. Another thing we did, we decided this year that we would appoint a search committee. And I want you to know that this year, that search committee selected a group of nominees that have never been so well researched and submitted to a selection committee as they were this year. And I think that the program has benefited immensely from this change in the program. Another thing we did was we decided that, at least the board did, that we would pick one recipient, and we're going to follow this preference in years to come. We discussed a little bit the idea of maybe changing the name of the event. We decided that probably in order not to confuse the public too much further, since this award has been known as the Distinguished Citizen, the Cupertino Distinguished Citizen, the Citizen of the Year, we decided that we'd leave it that way. I couldn't convince anybody that we should name the award after me. I mean, just think of the possibilities. It could have been the Nobel Prize.
I'd also like to take a few moments to discuss this year's selection process. The criteria were as follows. First, that the recipient must be a business leader within the community. Secondly, the recipient was to have a long history of community involvement. And lastly, the recipient must have had a measurable impact upon the community. The selection committee felt that this year's honoree, Helen Lewis, best exemplified these criteria and unanimously supported her selection. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce tonight's presenter. Our presenter this evening, of course, is a longtime friend and resident of Cupertino. He's a graduate of West Point Military Academy, was a, Tom, help me out, what kind of an officer? Command officer? A branch officer? He worked for the bank, Becky, yeah. Tom was also past president-elect of the Cupertino Rotary Club. He is a business person. He's past president of our Chamber of Commerce in Cupertino, and he's supervisor for the 3rd Supervisorial District. So if you could welcome Tom Ligon to the stand to present our recipient with tonight's awards. And Helen, this chair over here is for you, so if I could bring you here too.
Well, Alan did something unfair. He made Helen have to sit up here and blush while we say all these nice things about her. So I'll apologize up front. That's a surprise he pulled on me too, Helen, but it's nice to have you up here with us. You know, in past years, there was a time when we kept the recipient a secret until the night of the event, and so you'd sit up here and everybody be trying to figure out. I'm sure as this evening we started in to talk about some of the things that Helen's done, it could apply to any one of 100 people in this community, because sometimes when I look at the things that this woman has accomplished, I believe that, you know, she's not just one woman, but one woman who has been cloned many times for the energy and the things she's able to accomplish. Helen's achievements have not just been limited to the business world alone. As many of you know, Helen has taken a very deep interest in the mental health of the Santa Clara County. And as such, she has been involved with the Mental Health Advisory Board, first as a citizen volunteer, and more recently as, fortunately or unfortunately, my appointment to the Mental Health Advisory Board, through which she worked and rose to become chair. And during the 2 years of her chairpersonship, she was able, through her forceful and persuasive advocacy, to increase the mental health funding, particularly for children's services in our county, by excess of $2 million. And I think that's a remarkable achievement. She's also worked very hard to draw attention to a very important facility that continues to exist in our valley in a much different form than many of us knew when we grew up here, and that is in the Ag News Awareness Fair, which Helen was very instrumental in co-founding and continues to work very hard in representing here within the community. But again, she hasn't limited her volunteer activities outside of her business to just the area of advocacy and mental health. She's currently a member of the Private Industry Council and has served for the past 2 years for the Project Selection Committee. She also has been the most probably active person I've known in the time I've been associated with Cupertino's Chamber of Commerce. First, she has been 6 years on the board of directors, and I would like to point out, for those of you who may want to know who to blame, she sat during her first year on the nominating committee that picked me chair, or picked me as to be, or nominated me to be the president of the chamber. So history will judge whether that was a wise decision or not. But Helen herself served 2 years, in addition to being on the board, as the Vice President of Business Development, and then, as you all know, became President during the 1985-86 term. And during that time, she spearheaded a tremendous outreach into our community, by which she built a tremendous bond, not only between our business community, but between the homeowners and residents, between the local government, and between the school system in our community. And it was through that developing of that strong bond amongst so many different elements that we did develop into what I believe is one of the most dynamic chambers of commerce in the entire Santa Clara Valley, and there's some good ones here, as you all know. But her work has not just been on the board level. She has been the chef emeritus, as you might say, of the pancake breakfast, and see her afterwards for her special recipe. And then when all other chamber activities have been, you know, looking for someone to work right at the top of the list of volunteers, I'm talking about the volunteers for the hard work, not just for the jobs of stature and presence. You can find Helen Lewis down there getting her fingers dirty in doing what has to be done to bring off so many of the very important volunteer activities that both give the chamber visibility in the community and help us raise some of the funds to continue the business promotion and work for helping the greater community at large. She also has been very focal in the Quota Club of the Santa Clara Valley. She's past president of the San Jose Quota Club and has worked very hard for raising funding to help in the services for the hearing and speech impaired, but did bring to Cupertino its own Quota Club as the founder of the Cupertino, or sponsoring member for the founding of the Cupertino Quota Club. And I was very happy to attend as the guest of my wife at one of their functions, a a dinner at which they honored Mom, as it were. And that was Helen's particular contribution to Cupertino's quota. She also works for the United Way, has been chair of the allocation committees for the child facilities portion for the past 3 years, and has been active in the YWCA and particularly in the TWIN program, the Tribute to Women in Industry. But she has also found time to rear a family, and in that she has a son, Steve, who just recently received his PhD from Cornell, you know, Becky and Jim note, and is currently working on some postdoctoral research in toxicology in North Carolina. Now, Helen, for those of you who may have noted in the article in the Cupertino Courier, attributes some of his success in that area to the fact that she became pregnant with him while she was in graduate studies on biochemistry, and, quote, believes that he had 12 units of prenatal biochem by the time he hit the ground. She's also a loving daughter of, for those of us who know her closely, Big Helen, and that's Helen Schmelzer, Helen's mom, who's here. And Helen, would you stand up and take a little bow before we give the big applause to Helen? She's a dynamic woman in her own right, and it's no doubt where Helen has gotten much of the background that's given her the get up and go that we all know she has. But not limited to work and to community activities alone, Helen has some hobbies in her spare time. Amongst those are backpacking, and believe me, I've seen the pictures of Helen way out in some far wilds. She's quite a gardener in her own right. She enjoys music, current favorites being Huey Lewis and the Grateful Dead. And for those of you who might have been around a political campaign or two, know she also gives a lot of dedicated time. It gives me great pleasure tonight to introduce to all of you Helen Lewis, Cupertino's 1986 Citizen of the Year. Helen.
About a 10-paragraph proclamation, but I'm going to go right down to the essence down here in the bottom. I, Reed Sparks, and the City Council of Cupertino join with the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce in honoring Helen S. Lewis as Citizen 1986 Distinguished Citizen of the Year. This is from the Cupertino City Council. Our city manager is a very frugal individual, and he, out behind City Hall, we had some old prune trees. And of course, you know, Cupertino's known for its prune wood. And this, of course, here is one of our prune wood right here. It guarantees, this is a guarantee, it's health, wealth, happiness, and it's guaranteed to keep you regular for 60 years.
Ernie is really sorry he could not be here this evening, and as a congressional aide for him, it is my pleasure, Helen, to present you with a letter. It's not a huge proclamation. The federal government is trying to save money. But I would like to read one paragraph, and Ernie's comments are really heartfelt. Your work in meeting the human needs of our community has been truly outstanding. Your leadership has benefited not only the city of Cupertino, but the state of California as well. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's a real pleasure to be here tonight. Of course, for Tom and I, it's a pleasure to be anywhere tonight. But we wouldn't have missed this. You know, Helen, as I was listening to Tom go through all the accomplishments that Helen has achieved in her term with Cupertino and actually with the county as well, she's the perfect example of when you want a job done, you ask a busy person. And Helen is my representative on the Private Industry Council, and she has been a busy person in and has really accomplished a lot. And most of the accomplishments are listed on this resolution. And I'd like to present it to Helen and to let her know that this was passed unanimously by the Board of Supervisors. So, Helen.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Since I've had the privilege to get to know Helen over the last few years, I've really grown to admire her immensely, as many of you, I'm sure, over the years have too. On behalf of the Friends of the Human Relations Commission, as well as the Human Relations Commission itself, I want to present this Human Relations Commendation to Helen for her passionate caring of the needs of the low income, the developmentally disabled, the mentally ill, and the hearing impaired. Thank you very much, Helen.
Captive audience. I'd like to talk to you about the 27 bills I've introduced. Senator Morgan's real excited, I see. One of the nice things about being the assemblyman from this district is you get to come back here and recognize the kind of people like Helen, who I think really represent the heart and soul of this district, the courage, the entrepreneurship, the vision, the volunteerism. All those qualities are the kind of things that I represent up there. It's a very high standard that I'm put to because I have to represent people like you. She really represents thousands of people just like her out there, and I'm very proud to be representative of this district for you and especially for Helen, and I'm glad to be here to commemorate this evening with her. So I have a proclamation from the California State Assembly. This is the kind of things we get to put out. And congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be at these events. You have such a fine party, and I'm looking forward to the dancing. But before that, I should say, Helen, it has been a pleasure to recognize so many fine individuals. It's a special pleasure for me here this evening to recognize someone that for whom I have great appreciation for your years of support for me over the last several campaigns and several activities that we get to participate in.
Thanks.
It's been said that a good deed is like a candle in the dark. Cupertino and Santa Clara County is indeed well lit because of your many fine accomplishments. And a resolution here tonight on behalf of the California State Senate commending you for all of your accomplishments and contributions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now, finally, and I won't say most importantly, but certainly very symbolic, on behalf of the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce and the citizens of Cupertino, here is the official presentation to Helen for Cupertino's 1986 Distinguished Citizen of the Year. Helen, we're proud of you. Thank you so much. It's but a small token of the esteem with which we all hold you. And now you can have equal time.
What this is, it says here, Helen Lewis, Citizen of the Year, sponsored by the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce. And it's a beautiful clock, probably because people know I never get any place on time. I think this may be a message, but this is beautiful, and thank you. Now, as to equal time, that's probably the best thing about getting the award. You won't have to listen to a speech from me. I really thank all of you from my heart. I can't imagine anything nicer than being honored by the people that I love here in the city that I love, Cupertino. I could not have participated in the activities, involved myself in the city, the mental health, the quota, what have you, if it was not for the support of my family and my staff. And my staff has 2 tables here. I told them this was my retirement party. And they're all here to see if it's really true. So I know everyone thanks people, but I mean it from my heart. all of us have our own mission in life, and if we're lucky enough to have around us people that support us, we can go for it and we can do anything we want. And it's been my pleasure to work with some wonderful people in this community. Cupertino is a very wealthy community because of the people in its community. And the boards that I've served on in the county, I've met just wonderful people. There'll be lifelong friends. The friends here in the Chamber of Commerce, well, Tom and Nicole, I mean, we started here at the Chamber. We even saw a marriage. We did it all. And the roast wasn't bad, Tom. I really thank you. And I appreciate all of you for coming. And I told you I wasn't going to give a speech tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you all enjoyed your dinner. We're going to have a fantastic party because that's what I like to do. So let's party.
Would you join me in raising your glass, if you have a glass, with a toast to our Citizen of the Year 1986, and you don't get to do this, Helen Lewis. Here, here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This box here is your case of glasses with your name inscribed upon it, so we'll just keep it in the wrapping, and we'll call for President Herman Hitchmans to close the meeting.
Thank you.
Don't run away, Helen. I'd like to get a kiss too in public. Thank you. When I was listening to Tom telling everybody how much work you do, I really wonder what you do in the afternoon. We have had an outstanding evening, and if you liked what you have seen and heard and what you're going to hear, please tell the committee they worked very hard at it. If you do not like what you have heard, tell me, I'll tell next year's president. We've had an outstanding program, as I said before, but in one way I'm disappointed, because usually at these events we hear lots of whereases and it will be resolved, or it is resolved, and all this kind of thing, and I do not think we can end this evening without it. So I have some whereases of myself. Whereas we've had an outstanding program, and whereas our thanks should go to a great committee, whereas everyone has been sitting down long enough, now therefore it be resolved that the Chamber thanks Deborah Nobel and Alan Bidwell for all the efforts put in the event, and further directs that the meeting adjourns to enjoy dancing to the music of the Royal Society of Jazz Orchestra. Thank you very much.